What's up, guys? Today we're going to be talking about Cha-Ching, The Gray Bastards by Johnathan French. Guys, man, I'm finally glad I picked this up. I was supposed to read it like a fucking year ago, but, things happen, all right? But I'm glad I finally jumped into this world of Johnathan French's because it is violent and vulgar in the best ways. It was kind of surprisingly vulgar, but that only made my black heart beat that much more. Let's get into it. All right, so here in The Gray Bastards, Johnathan French brings us to a very high fantasy world, but he really makes it rough around the edges. So we're going to be following a group of half-orcs known as the Gray Bastards. Now, these guys are essentially in control of a chunk of this world known as the Lotlands. And their job, so to speak, is to keep full-blown orcs off of their land, because full-blown orcs are a goddamn nightmare. Now, we will follow the gang of the Gray Bastards as they make their way around the Lotlands, riding high on the hogs. That's right, guys. Think biker gang, but instead of Harleys, they're riding on these giant hogs that are known as berserkers. And these things are fucking awesome. I know what you're thinking, and you might be laughing, just like I laughed when I, picked up the book and before I even read it. But the berserker hogs, I'm going to argue, are much more than just a mount. They are much more than just an animal companion. In fact, I would say that they are very much so characters in this story. The first thing I want to jump into is going to be the book's pacing, because I think it's where the book excels. It's a very fast-paced read, but a lot of that is because Johnathan French is really putting you in a situation, letting it play out, and then immediately kind of putting you in another one. I mean, the story really just moves itself along at an insanely easy pace. It was one of the things I noticed right out the gate, and I think most people that pick this book up are going to be able to devour this story in no time. Now, kind of keeping with that pace, though, because it's kind of moving everything forward so quickly, we are going to suffer a little bit, I feel, in maybe character development as well as in the world building, but I have to praise these things as well. I enjoyed the characters and I really enjoyed the world. I think I'm a little used to, in a series or a trilogy, book one is a lot of goddamn world building. We're really kind of just getting used to the environment and really being introduced to everything. Where in here, man, French is just delivering you this story. But the good thing is, the story is entertaining. And yes, the character work and the world building suffer a little bit because of that quick pacing, but that does not mean that they are poor, okay? The world building in this book is great because it's kind of refreshing in the fact that you don't really get a lot of these darker toned books like grimdarkish stories taking place in high fantasy worlds. It's much more low fantasy style of settings. So this is, a breath of fresh air in that aspect. And he's bringing things that I have not even fucking read about in forever. Centaurs, okay? But once again, I think that the centaurs, it's awesome that they're in here, but there could have been a little bit more fleshing out of this race. But because of the pace of things, we get them, but they could have been better, all right? And it's kind of the same with the characters, okay? I enjoyed these characters. I think these half-orc scoundrel types are great. They're very vulgar. They got some great dick jokes. It's just a whole lot of fun. But once again, I think because of this thing kind of being that speedy read, I didn't necessarily grow a massive attachment to any of these characters. In fact, my favorite character is actually one of the berserker hogs, okay? Huh? The next thing I really want to jump into is going to be the book's vibe and just overall tone. I guarantee you guys, if you haven't read this book yet, but you heard of it, it was probably pitched to you as, the half-orc Sons of Anarchy. I am even guilty of that as well. Now, that's actually, a pretty good assessment, but it's also kind of not. And so that's why I want to mention this, because if it's something that deterred you, if you were like, oh man, half-orc Sons of Anarchy, like, get out of here, I would, kind of encourage you to do a little bit more investigation instead of that surface level kind of blurb, all right? Yes, it does feel like Sons of Anarchy, but it also feels like its own story as well. And French has brought us this world that is just vast with all these different kinds of races, so it has that different feel. You will get kind of two different things mixed together, so it's not just going to feel like a Sons of Anarchy story. But it's also not just going to feel like a high fantasy ride either. This thing is vulgar. Like I said before, there are so many fucking dick jokes in here, and I laughed a lot. But if you're somebody that doesn't like dick jokes, this might piss you off. If you're somebody that doesn't like cursing, probably not the book for you. I mean, it's literally riddled from beginning to end with cursing. This thing it's just like, it's great, man. It's violence and sex and fuckery on a, full-blown level. And it's got some just some great old fun. Now, as far as my 2 cents for the slow and the struggling, yes, absolutely. The Gray Bastards could be for you, especially because of this pacing. It makes it really easy to recommend. You guys, you're going to be able to pick it up and finish it in no time. And realistically, the kind of change in setting is going to be very interesting and good for you as well if you're somebody that's just kind of getting into fantasy but really likes darker stuff, because you're probably not finding this kind of setting. So it'll be good for you to get that high fantasy kind of stuff under your belt. All right? Well, as always, guys, thank you for spending some time down here at the channel. And to Johnathan French, a gadoosh. 2 thumbs up. Man, I really had a lot of fun tromping around in the Lotlands. And I'm excited to continue this trilogy. I know that book 3 just recently dropped. So, yeah, I'm probably going to smash this thing out here fairly soon. For the rest of you still watching, what are you doing with your lives? Get on out there and be somebody. Quit hanging out with this old scumbag, all right? I don't know what. I really need you.